This dish has got to be one of India's most popular mutton dishes. Alright, it's cooked in various versions across the country and in fact across the world. Today I'm going to be making you my version of this delicious mutton recipe. That's coming up. If you find value in what we do, then consider subscribing to our channel and press the bell icon to stay notified whenever we make a new upload. Hey everyone, I'm Chef Aaditya Bal and welcome to my kitchen where I share with you some of my favorite recipes, cooking techniques, tips, tricks and know-how to help you become a better cook. So like I was saying, today I'm going to be making for you a mutton curry recipe that comes from my home state, right? So today I'm going to be making for you my version of a Kashmiri Mutton Rogan Josh. It's super popular. All kinds of versions are made, Punjabi ones as well, Mughlai ones as well. But today we're going to be making the Kashmiri version of this dish, at least my version of it. So without further ado, let's check out our ingredients for our Mutton Rogan Josh. So let's take a look at our ingredients for our home style Kashmiri Rogan Josh. Half a kg of mutton pieces, mixed pieces, 250 grams of curd, all of our warm whole spices for our Kashmiri garam masala, half a teaspoon of garlic paste, cumin powder, chili powder, hot chili powder, dry ginger powder, fennel powder, turmeric powder, and of course our Kashmiri chili powder, salt, and mustard oil is our medium for our Rogan Josh. So our 300 grams of curd, into the mutton it goes. So we've added our curd to our mutton pieces, half a teaspoon of salt, and we're just going to marinate our meat with our curd and salt and put it away in the fridge to marinate for about maybe 15 to 20 minutes. Right, so we've marinated our mutton with our curd and about half a teaspoon of salt. We put it away into the fridge and we're just going to allow it to tenderize that meat while we get down to the rest of our prep. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is just make a simple and quick Kashmiri garam masala, okay, a freshly ground one. So let's get down to dry roasting our spices and grinding our masala. So to a hot pan, we are going to add our warm spices for our Kashmiri garam masala and just dry roast them until they are really nice and fragrant and smoky. Alright, just dry roast them, release all those wonderful flavors. We're just going to transfer them to a mortar and then grind them to a nice semi-fine powder. Right, so we finished grinding those wonderful warm spices. Oh, and they smell absolutely superb, really nice and fragrant. That pepper and that shahi zeera, carefully add it, leave out all the bits. But that Kashmiri style garam masala is done. Right, so we have made our Kashmiri garam masala. Our mustard oil is now smoked out nicely. All right, I've taken out our marinated mutton. There we go. Just cover it off. Ooh. So we've added our marinated meat to our oil. We're just going to add the balanced curd. And of course, as soon as you add it, it's going to start to splash and splutter. So just be careful not to burn yourself. Okay, so just on a medium-high heat, we're just going to now cook the mutton with the curd for about maybe 15 to maybe 20 minutes until the curd has begun to thicken up and the meat is par cooked. Right, so it's been about 10 odd minutes and that mutton is cooking away in its marinade. All right, the curd has released a lot of moisture, but now the curd is beginning to cook out and thicken up nicely. So gently continue to cook the meat in the curd and the salt for a few more minutes. Yeah, just stir it up nicely and continue to cook that mutton in the curd until the curd has reduced and has begun to thicken nicely. Okay, this is just going to kind of really tenderize the mutton pieces and going to give it that lovely kind of slightly sour curdy flavor. Okay, so to this we can now start adding our spice powders. Fennel goes in, cumin powder goes in, hot chili powder for heat, and then of course our generous amount of Kashmiri chili powder for color. Lovely. Okay, we're just going to stir in those spices. Just stir everything together, and as soon as you start to stir it, those spices are going to just absorb all of that moisture from the curd and thicken up your meat. So we're going to add a little more salt, and now we want to just on a medium heat continue to kind of fry that mutton in the spices and the curd until it absorbs all of that wonderful flavor. Okay, we're going to dilute our garlic paste with a little bit of water. So as you can see, lots of pan deposits built up at the bottom of the pan, all those lovely brown bits from the meat and the curd and the spices. That is looking lovely. To this, we're going to add our garlic water. Just add a little bit and start to deglaze the pan. Just add the rest of it now. Garlic water, just going to give a lovely slight infusion of garlic to our Rogan Josh. And now we're going to just continue to kind of fry and deglaze the pan nicely. Okay, so continue to fry it, build up a richer and richer color, build up that flavor, and then deglaze it. So a little bit of water and deglaze your Rogan Josh nicely. Look at that, those spices are beginning to cook out, and already we've got that nice rich red Rogan beginning to kind of develop in the dish, right? Beautiful. So we're just going to bring it to a boil, add a little bit of water, and then cover it and let it cook away for a few minutes. So our Rogan Josh has been cooking away on a pretty low heat. It's been about 10 minutes since we've covered it. Now time for us to check and see exactly what's going on in that pan. Oh yeah, that looks absolutely lovely. So it's been about 15 minutes, and as you can see, our Rogan Josh has begun to cook out nicely. It's got a lovely, wonderful, rich, deep red color. Okay. Right, so our Rogan Josh is coming along really nicely. Just gonna add a little bit more water to cover it and let it cook away until the mutton is really nice and tender. Let's just check on our meat. Okay, so still a good half an hour or more to go, but as you can see, our spices are now beginning to cook out nicely. So our Rogan Josh has now been cooking away. It's been over 45 minutes. It's been simmering away, and as you can see, those spices are now nicely cooked out and the meat is about 50% done. Now to our Rogan Josh, we are going to add our lovely, fragrant, aromatic Kashmiri garam masala. Okay, just add all of that garam masala and just stir it in. Again, as soon as you stir it in, your Rogan Josh is going to thicken. The gravy is just going to thicken as those spices kind of disperse through that thick gravy. So just cover the pan and let it cook away for a further 15 to 20 minutes to cook out those spices nicely. Ah, look at that. Oh, what a lovely color. Super rich, deep red. That's exactly the kind of color we are looking for. We're just going to add a little bit of water because it's reduced down and thickened up quite nicely. Just about 300 ml of water. Stir everything together. Deglaze any of those pan deposits stuck to the base. And then we're just going to cover it and cook it out until the gravy is perfectly done and the mutton is super tender. So our Rogan Josh has been cooking away now for a further 30 to 35 minutes, and as you can see, all of those spices are perfectly cooked and that mutton is absolutely done. Just a little bit of salt just to bring out the flavor. Just stir it in, and we're now just going to cook it uncovered to kind of reduce and thicken the gravy and just intensify those flavors. So just boil it out nicely and reduce and kind of concentrate, intensify those flavors. Okay, so our mutton is absolutely tender. I'm just going to turn up the heat, boil it out nicely. So our Rogan Josh is absolutely ready. Our gravy is nice and thick and really nice and kind of intensified in flavor. It smells absolutely amazing. Perfect. And that is done. So our Rogan Josh is finally done. It took a good hour and a half, maybe a couple of hours to cook, but it is looking and smelling fantastic. Time for us to serve and then enjoy our Rogan Josh with simply some hot steamed rice. Right, so it's time for us to just serve our Rogan Josh. So just plate up that lovely, delicious, super tender meat with all of that nice kind of reduced tari or gravy. Little bit of gravy, nice and concentrated. It doesn't need to have too much gravy, but all those flavors need to be wonderful and concentrated and really nice and intensified. Enjoy this Kashmiri delicacy. And it smells absolutely amazing. Okay, I'm just gonna give it a small taste. I am actually super pleasantly surprised, not just surprised but happy with our results. That meat is super tender and all those wonderful flavors. My God, simple ingredients, but what a flavor. Typically Kashmiri and unmistakable if you have tried this cuisine. So I really hope that you cook this recipe in your kitchens as soon as you can, because this is one of those classic Kashmiri mutton dishes that you and your family are going to just love. And of course, I will see you next time from my kitchen with lots more interesting recipes such as these. But till then, happy cooking.